You're about to book your next cruise, dreaming of calm seas, cocktails, and perfect sunsets. But before you click confirm, here's the truth. Not every ship out there deserves your vacation days. Some vessels score shockingly low in real passenger reviews, from sewage smells and power failures to buffet chaos you wouldn't believe. Everything in this list comes straight from cruise critic ratings, health inspection reports, and passenger footage. Not opinions. So don't get mad at me, get mad at the data. Because these are the worst cruise ships you should avoid at all costs. How we pick the worst ships. Every year, thousands of cruise reviews quietly pile up online. Some glowing, some brutal. To find the ships that consistently disappoint, we dug into verified cruise critic reviews, CDC Vessel Sanitation Program inspection scores, and recent passenger complaint trends. We looked for ships with recurring red flags, poor maintenance, bad food quality, sewage or odor smells, overcrowded decks, and low staff ratings. Incidents or power failures were included only if they shaped long-term reputation. Now, this isn't a hate list. Every ship has great sailings too, but these are the ones that repeat travelers warn about year after year. So before you spend thousands on a deal, check if your ship shows up here first, because once you're on board, you can't exactly switch hotels mid-ocean. All right, let's start with one ship whose name still sends shivers through cruise veterans. It promised luxury. It delivered headlines instead. Number 1. MSC Seaside, the beach resort ship that failed the test. When MSC launched Seaside in 2017, it was meant to reinvent cruising. The company called it the ship that follows the sun, promising open-air decks, glass skywalks, and a South Beach vibe at sea. But behind the glossy marketing, Seaside has built a reputation that's far less sunny. In April 2023, the Centers for Disease Control conducted a surprise inspection, and the ship failed. It scored just 67 out of 100, one of the lowest sanitation ratings in recent cruise history. Inspectors cited food debris in galley areas, improper storage temperatures, and crew hygiene lapses. MSC quickly implemented fixes and later improved its score, but the damage to public trust was already done. Cruise critic reviews tell a similar story. Many passengers still mention long lines, chaotic dining rooms, and indifferent service. One reviewer wrote, "Overcrowded boat, poor customer service, and confusion everywhere." Another added, "The bathrooms were minuscule and often not clean. Definitely not a 5-star experience." Now, to MSC's credit, newer sailings have shown operational improvements, and the company has invested heavily in upgrades. But crowding and inconsistency remain recurring themes. Even when the weather is perfect, the vibe on board can feel rushed. More hustle than holiday. MSC called Seaside a resort that moves, but too often, passengers say it feels like a resort that never slows down. The pools are packed, the buffet lines stretch, and the charm that European guests often praise doesn't always translate for North American travelers expecting smoother logistics. Our verdict? Seaside isn't a disaster, but it's a gamble. Book it only if you care more about the destination than the details, and check the latest inspection score before you sail. Number 2. Costa Fortuna, the vintage liner that can't keep up. When Costa Fortuna debuted in 2003, she was celebrated as a symbol of Italian style at sea, elegant decor, grand dining rooms, and a tribute to the golden age of ocean liners. 2 decades later, that charm has started to fade. What was once considered classic now feels, to many travelers, simply old. Recent cruise critic and TripAdvisor reviews average around 2.8 out of 5, placing Fortuna among the lowest rated ships in Costa's fleet. The complaints follow a clear pattern: maintenance issues, understaffed dining rooms, and inconsistent communication across languages. One passenger wrote, "It felt like the crew and guests spoke 10 different languages and no one understood each other." Another added, "Beautiful ship, but noisy, crowded, and poorly organized." Crowding is a recurring theme. Despite having capacity for fewer than 3,000 guests, many describe the ship as congested during embarkation and sea days. Limited pool deck space and small buffet areas mean long lines and little relaxation. The entertainment, once a highlight, now gets mixed reviews for dated production value and repetitive acts. Costa's Italian atmosphere can be wonderful when service runs smoothly. Authentic pasta dishes, espresso bars, and opera-themed lounges still charm plenty of travelers. But for every glowing note, there's another calling it chaotic or confusing. Language barriers often lead to missed announcements and misplaced luggage, especially on sailings with a heavily international mix of passengers. Now, to Costa's credit, the crew earns praise for friendliness, and itineraries across the Mediterranean remain scenic and affordable. But the ship's age shows. Worn carpeting, flickering lights, and plumbing quirks pop up often enough to pull guests out of vacation mode. Our verdict? Costa Fortuna isn't unsafe, just tired. It's a nostalgic ship that hasn't aged gracefully, better suited for budget cruisers chasing ports, not polish. And speaking of fading shine, the next ship proves that even brand new designs can launch with big promises and bigger disappointment. Number 3, Carnival Sunrise, the cruise line's most unforgettable breakdown. Once known as Carnival Triumph, this ship made headlines in 2013 for all the wrong reasons. What began as a quick 4-day trip to Mexico became one of the most infamous maritime incidents in modern cruising. An engine room fire knocked out power mid-voyage, leaving more than 4,000 passengers stranded in the Gulf of Mexico with no working toilets, no air conditioning, and very little food. For 5 long days, guests slept on deck under emergency lighting while eating cold sandwiches delivered by crew carts. The media dubbed it the Poop Cruise, and photos of red biohazard bags lined in the hallways went viral worldwide. Carnival later renamed and refurbished the ship as Carnival Sunrise in 2019, spending nearly $200 million to wipe the slate clean. New restaurants, new cabins, new decor, everything except the memory. Even now, cruise critic reviews mention plumbing problems, maintenance delays, and uneven service. Now, to be fair, not every sailing is bad. Some passengers praise the food variety and upbeat staff, but the consistency isn't there. When a ship has carried that much baggage, literally and figuratively, even small hiccups remind people of its worst chapter. Carnival called the 2013 fire a rare accident, and by technical standards, it was. But reputations at sea are like saltwater stains. They linger. A new paint job can't erase what passengers remember seeing and smelling on that voyage. Today, Carnival Sunrise sails short itineraries out of Florida and New York, marketed as a fun, affordable getaway. It's no longer a disaster zone, just a reminder of how quickly a cruise can go off script. Our verdict? Unless you're a die-hard Carnival loyalist chasing low fares, skip this one and look for a newer ship in the fleet. And speaking of ships that promised big but delivered turbulence, our next one set sail with Broadway dreams and ended up with bathroom memes. Number 4, Norwegian Epic, the cruise that forgot privacy at sea. When Norwegian launched Epic in 2010, it was marketed as a bold step forward in cruise design. Entertainment-packed, freestyle, and futuristic, the ship had everything. Massive theater shows, multiple water slides, and one of the first solo traveler complexes at sea. But it also had one unforgettable design flaw that passengers still joke about 15 years later: the bathrooms. In a move that baffled even loyal Norwegian fans, Epic's standard cabin featured a split bathroom. The shower and toilet sit behind frosted glass doors right next to the bed, with only a thin curtain for privacy. For couples, families, or friends sharing a cabin, it quickly became a running gag online. But the privacy issue is only part of Epic's ongoing problem. In 2019, the ship made headlines after losing power and colliding with a pier in San Juan, Puerto Rico. While no one was hurt, the video footage of a massive vessel scraping concrete walls didn't help its reputation. Reviews since then often mention confusing layouts, overcrowded elevators, and long waits at the buffet. To its credit, Epic still shines in entertainment. The live shows and nightlife earn consistent praise, yet passengers describe the overall experience as uneven. Half amazing, half exhausting, one wrote. They tried to make it feel like Las Vegas at sea, but forgot how humans move through hallways. Now, Norwegian has newer, smoother ships now, with better cabins and less chaos. Epic remains a striking but flawed experiment, a reminder that innovation doesn't always mean comfort. Our verdict: go for the shows, not the staterooms, because once you've lived through an epic bathroom moment, you'll never forget it. Number 5. Independence of the Seas, the fun ship that forgot about space. When Royal Caribbean introduced Independence of the Seas in 2008, it was a marvel of its time. Sprawling decks, surf simulators, ice rinks, and every form of family entertainment you could imagine. It was built to impress, and for years it did. But as newer, larger ships entered the fleet, Independence began to show its limits, not in luxury, but in elbow room. Cruise critic reviews from recent years reveal one recurring theme: crowding. Not just busy, but packed. Passengers report long buffet lines, overbooked pool areas, and sun decks so full you can barely walk between loungers. Royal Caribbean still markets Independence as a mid-size option with big ship energy, yet the experience depends heavily on timing. During school holidays and peak seasons, the ship's design simply can't keep up with demand. Pool capacities top out quickly, dining reservations vanish fast, and quiet corners, the ones every cruiser eventually needs, becomes rare treasures. That said, credit where credit is due. The entertainment and food quality remain strong, and families with kids still rave about the onboard activities. The crew earns frequent praise for managing huge crowds with patience, but even the best staff can't manufacture space out of thin air. Royal Caribbean's Oasis-class ships now dwarf Independence in both size and layout efficiency, offering wider corridors, more venues, and better crowd flow. Compared to those, Independence feels like an overbooked classic, still charming, but running at full throttle. Our verdict: great value off-season, but risky during school breaks. Unless you enjoy line management as a sport, consider sailing something newer. Because the next ship proves that even style and fine dining can't save you when the entire voyage feels like a traffic jam in paradise. Number 6. Costa Deliziosa, the Italian dream that lost its rhythm. When Costa Deliziosa debuted in 2010, it was supposed to embody Italian elegance at sea. Glass mosaics, rich cuisine, and grand evening shows that felt straight out of Venice. On paper, it had everything: charm, culture, and a promise of la dolce vita on every deck. But over time, that dream has started to crack. Recent passenger reviews paint a picture that's less sweet, more stressful. Many cite long embarkation lines, poor communication, and confusion in daily operations. Part of the problem is inconsistency. Deliziosa alternates between European and international itineraries, and depending on the crowd and crew rotation, the experience can swing wildly from polished to problematic. Language barriers and mixed culture expectations sometimes make basic logistics, like dining times and excursions, feel disjointed. The ship's design, once considered stylish, now feels dated next to modern competitors. Cabins show age, and several reviewers note maintenance issues like worn carpets or flickering lights. The onboard entertainment remains lively, but many say it comes at the expense of peace. Too loud, too late, as one passenger described it. To Costa's credit, Deliziosa still delivers when it's on form. The pizza is authentic, the wine list impressive, and the itineraries around the Mediterranean and Middle East can be stunning. But too many guests walk away describing the experience as unpredictable. A quick reminder, if you're finding this helpful, hit like and subscribe so your next cruise starts smarter than your last. Costa calls Deliziosa the art of cruising, yet lately it feels more like art that's overdue for restoration. Our verdict? A beautiful ship with a fading shine, Fine if you know what to expect. Frustrating if you don't. Number 7. Symphony of the Seas. The surprise inspection that shocked everyone. Now, you wouldn't expect one of the world's largest and most luxurious cruise ships to end up on a worst list. But even giants can stumble. Symphony of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's 230,000-ton floating city, made headlines in early 2025 when it narrowly avoided a failing grade during a surprise CDC inspection. The inspection score? 86 out of 100, just 1 point above unsatisfactory. For a ship often called the best in the world, it was a wake-up call. Inspectors noted lapses in food handling areas and cleanliness issues in crew galleys. Not catastrophic, but enough to raise eyebrows. Royal Caribbean immediately corrected the violations, and a follow-up inspection later that year gave Symphony a much stronger 97, proving the fixes worked. Still, the news spread fast. Social media buzzed with shock, and cruise critic forums filled with uneasy comments. Others defended it, pointing out that minor lapses can happen on vessels serving thousands daily. Passenger reviews tell a mixed story. Some describe the ship as breathtaking, spotless, efficient, unforgettable. Others say it's massive, but sometimes feels like a mall that never closes. Crowding on sea days, long waits for elevators, and overbooked shows occasionally tarnish an otherwise remarkable experience. It's important to note that Symphony of the Seas remains a technical triumph. It's not unsafe or poorly maintained. The 2025 incident simply reminded everyone that even the most advanced ships need constant vigilance. Royal Caribbean handled the situation swiftly and transparently, earning back goodwill. Now, our verdict? Symphony isn't one to avoid, but it proves that reputation alone doesn't guarantee perfection. Always check inspection dates before you sail, because even the best ships have off days. Number 8. MSC Seascape, the new ship that still missed the mark. When MSC Seascape launched in late 2022, it was billed as the crown jewel of the Seaside EVO class, bigger, sleeker, and smarter than its predecessors. MSC promised cutting-edge technology, open-air elegance, and a refined European feel. But within a year, passengers began to notice something cruise lines hate most: the gap between expectation and experience. Despite its modern look, infinity bridges, panoramic elevators, and smart cabins, Seascape struggles with crowd flow. Passengers describe constant bottlenecks around the buffet and elevators, with popular venues full hours before showtime. The service gap is particularly noticeable at peak dining times, when long waits and incorrect orders have become a frustrating theme. Food quality has also drawn mixed feedback. While specialty restaurants earn praise, the main dining and buffet offerings are often described as lukewarm and uninspired. To be fair, Seascape does deliver on visuals. Its glass-floored walkways and sea view infinity pools are stunning, and families love the virtual reality simulators and water park. But beneath the beauty lies a rhythm that never quite settles. The energy feels rushed, the service reactive instead of proactive. Our verdict? MSC Seascape proves that new doesn't always mean better. It's a photogenic ship still learning how to run smoothly. If you're booking for the views, you'll be impressed. If you're booking for peace and polish, you might leave disappointed. Number 9. Carnival Liberty, the party ship that's running out of energy. When Carnival Liberty entered service in 2005, it was a fan favorite. Bright, lively, and built for fun. With Guy's Burger Joint, poolside movies, and an upbeat crew, it captured everything that made Carnival famous for affordable excitement. But 2 decades later, time and wear have caught up. Recent cruise critic reviews give Liberty an average rating of about 3.2 out of 5, with many passengers pointing to the same problems: dated decor, slow maintenance, and unreliable plumbing. While Carnival regularly updates parts of its fleet, Liberty has missed some of the more extensive makeovers given to newer ships. As a result, public spaces show their age. Faded carpets, rust around window frames, and cabin fixtures that don't always work as intended. Several guests have also noted inconsistent air conditioning, with some cabins running hot while others freeze. Now, the food and entertainment still hit Carnival's signature upbeat tone, and the cruise enthusiasm remains a bright spot. Yet, compared to Carnival's newer XL-class ships, Liberty feels cramped and underpowered. On full sailings, lines at buffets and guest services stretch endlessly, and the pool deck can feel more like a concert crowd than a vacation lounge. Now, that lively party atmosphere still draws repeat guests, those who know what to expect and don't mind a little chaos. But for first-time cruisers hoping for modern comfort and quiet relaxation, Liberty often delivers fatigue instead of fun. Our verdict? Carnival Liberty is a classic that's long past its prime, still spirited, but showing every mile of its 20-year run. Number 10. Celebrity Summit, the premier ship that's lost its spark. When Celebrity Summit launched in 2001, it represented modern luxury at sea, elegant design, fine dining, and quieter sophistication than its party-focused competitors. For years, it was the ship that made Celebrity Cruises a respected premium brand, but after more than 2 decades, that shine has dimmed. Despite a major Revolution refurbishment in 2019, Summit now earns mixed to low passenger ratings, averaging around 3.4 out of 5 on Cruise Critic. The most common complaints? Maintenance issues, cabin malfunctions, and inconsistent dining quality. While Celebrity markets Summit as freshly modernized, many passengers say the updates only go skin deep. Reviews mention cracked tiles, dated bathrooms, and air conditioning problems that turn cabins humid in tropical regions. Dining, once a highlight of the line, has also become uneven. The main restaurant still delivers solid quality, but buffet meals are often described as bland and repetitive. Entertainment gets mixed reactions too. Guests praise the acoustic acts and small venue performances, but note that big productions can feel budget cruise compared to the newer Edge-class ships. One reviewer summed it up: "Great itinerary, great crew, but the ship itself is tired." To Celebrity's credit, Summit still has some of the most attentive housekeeping teams in the fleet, and its smaller size offers a calmer vibe than megaships. But that calm comes with trade-offs: fewer amenities, limited venues, and older infrastructure that shows its age more each year. Our verdict? Celebrity Summit isn't bad, just behind the curve. It's fine for loyal Celebrity fans who value quiet sailing, but not ideal if you're expecting the sparkle of the newer Edge or Apex class ships. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe. It's the easiest way to stay ahead of cruise news before you book your next trip. And if you still plan to sail on one of these ships, at least do it wisely. Research, compare, and know exactly what you're boarding. Because whether you're chasing adventure or avoiding disappointment, the smartest cruisers are the ones who plan before they pack. Watch the next video on your screen right now and keep cruising smarter, not riskier. Your voyage is just beginning.